everyone. Welcome. I'm just going to wait for the attendee list to rise slightly. I know a couple of you are joining now and connecting to audio. Great to have you here. So my name's Daniela. I'm one of the senior advisors in the recruitment and admissions team. I'm joined today by our panelists for the MBA Alliances session. Really excited to run this session with you guys today and hear more about your experiences and the fact that you're able to share them with those dialed in today. I think this is going to be a really, really exciting session. We're firstly going to jump into the Women in Leadership Alliance, and then we're going to go into the Africa Business Alliance a little bit after that. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to our panelists who will do speed introductions. So they're going to quickly introduce themselves. So I'll go in the order I can see on my screen. So Justice, if I go to you.
Sure. Thank you very much, Daniela. My name is Justice Edu. I am from Ghana. As you can see, I'm in my Ghana college to be supporting my team against Nigeria. I am the co-director, one of the co-directors for the Oxford Africa Business Forum, which we recently completed. And I'm also a member of the Oxford Africa Alliance Committee. Before joining the MBA, I worked in strategy consulting across Africa for 4 years. Before that, I did investment banking. I am generally interested in sustainability and developing social enterprises. And my goal post MBA is to return to Africa to essentially help develop and grow more African businesses. So that's just like a quick intro for myself.
Thanks, Justice. And Chima,
hi everyone, thanks for having me. I'm Chima. I'm from Nigeria. I'm the co-head of outreach, and our role basically just involves around encouraging bright people from the continent to come over here. Before the MBA, I did about 4 years in consulting, and I moved into tech, where I played the role of a strategy and ops manager across some different companies. And then after the MBA, looking to go back to the same role and also go back to the continent. So that's it from me.
thank you. Gabriella?
Hi everyone, my name is Gabriela. I originally come from Colombia, where I used to, I actually founded a consulting firm, a women-led consulting firm. I am the head of partnerships of the Oxford Women in Leadership Alliance, and I am very interested in gender parity and working with women to achieve their dreams. So that is me. I think Emma is next.
Yeah, over to you, Emma.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. I'm Emma. I'm from the States, from Chicago. Before the MBA, was in consulting, but more so focused in procurement and supply chain. And so, yeah, part of the Women's Leadership Alliance with Gabby, and I'm co-head of events and engagement. So similar to Gabby in terms of gender parity and really valuing also bringing men into the conversation. So that's been something we've been working on this past year as well. And then post the MBA, I'll be staying in London doing consulting. So yeah, really nice to meet everyone.
Thank you so much. And Ifeoluwa, over to you.
Okay, hi everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Ifeoluwa. I'm from Nigeria, currently with the Women's Alliance as the co-chair. It's been really exciting. Prior to the MBA, I had another life working as a lawyer in corporate law and doing mainly finance and fintech in law, but working in the public sector and the private sector in Nigeria. Just right before coming to Oxford, I worked with Flutterwave, which is a really exciting tech company based out of Africa right now. Post MBA, yes, I'm making a full pivot to tech in strategy, and we'll be doing that in London. Really great to be here and meet all of you.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much. So we're gonna hand over now. So Women in Leadership Alliance, it's over to you with your presentation to kickstart this session.
Okay. Yeah, just quick one, Daniela, who's handling the slides?
So my colleague Sophia, so if you prompt,
okay.
That's all good. We'll to the next one.
Perfect, I will. Okay. Hi, everyone. Yeah, this is us, the Women's Alliance at Oxford, and I have some of my A-list team members on this call. Gabby's smiling and Emma is smiling. They are pretty amazing, I should tell you. It's been amazing working with them, I believe, since we started in September. So yeah, we'll just take you very quickly through what we've been up to. Pretty amazing and exciting work, and I hope you find it exciting as well. Okay, so next slide. This is us, very quickly, the team. This is me, Ifelua. I have another co-chair, Srijita, who's not on this call. She's from India. We have Emma, who's co-head of engagements. We have Arwa, who's from Saudi Arabia, who's also co-head of engagements. And we have Gabriella, who's head of partnerships. All women. I think we need to spice that up, you know. Yeah, we have to spice up this team, you know, if we're preaching allyship. Okay. Next slide. So generally, our themes at the Women's Alliance cut across different areas. And you would see that when I'm talking a bit more about the events that we've had in the past couple of months. So first, it's a lot about women empowerment, also about mentorship and role models, negotiation and the gender pay gaps existing in the world today, building a supportive community, and also bringing men to the conversation in form of allyship, which is why I said we need to, you know, jig that team structure a bit more. Next slide. Okay, so this is really just a mashup of the events that we've had so far. I'll speak a bit about them, and then I'll also have Emma and Gabby chime in just to share, because we've really had to work as a team to pull these off, so it's been exciting. I think one of the very first things we did was to have Becky Judge David, who is now an executive director at JP Morgan, and then she came to Oxford in person, which was really great, and spoke to us about how working at JP Morgan and leading a team as a woman, as a Black woman in tech, you know, and all the upsides and, you know, downsides of that. And she really hammered on the role of sponsors and mentors. It was such a great conversation. It was a 2-hour conversation, and I can tell you that a lot of us left that room, you know, knowing a lot more about what to do in a space like that, if that is what we're keen on. Another thing we did was, it was International Men's Day on November 19th. Again, we're always very supportive of our men, as much as we want also the men to support us. So it's a two-way street, right? It's not one person over another. You know, we all need to be in this mix together. So International Men's Day, I believe Gabby and Emma, you know, we're all over social media and, you know, doing their thing and really, really showing our support to the men's community at Oxford. Another thing we did was we also do a lot of collaborative events with associations within Oxford and even outside of Oxford. So we have the Oxford Women in Business, which is for the wider Oxford University. And then there was a leadership workshop with a senior lecturer at the Stanford Graduate School of Business, where she spoke about power and presence and what that means. That was really exciting. And then I think the last thing I'll talk about would be the All Women Art Exhibition, which was an exciting one. This was a collaborative event between ourselves, the Women's Alliance, and the women in our cohorts who are artistic. We were so wowed by the level of art that, you know, our classmates had. You know, there were pictures, drawings, poems, and all of this was, you know, displayed, you know, in school, you know, for people to come see, but more importantly, it was towards the cause, towards the women and children who have been displaced by the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. And I believe we raised over £2,000. So that was really exciting, and we haven't stopped. That is still ongoing. And we're currently in talks with Said Business School on how we can actually get some of this art up on the wall in school. So hopefully, you know, you will be seeing a lot of that art, you know, even when we're gone. But I'd like Gabby to speak about maybe 2 events, and then Emma to also chime in on the last 2 events.
Sure. So the Asthma Can event is we as an alliance brought Asthma, that is a recognized chef. I don't know if you've heard of her restaurant. Please don't ask me to pronounce the name, but she has a very famous restaurant in London, and she came and gave a very nice and empowering speech for International Women's Day. And so that was one of our main events for International Women's Week. But we also had, and I hope you guys saw that on social media, we had a lot of different activities. So we all aligned with the themes Aoife just talked about in the slide before, but we had a day where we would ask men what their who they admired, as what women they admired, or trying to understand what women are admirable, or having conversations about women and leadership for International Women's Day. Emma, do you want to take over the last two? We had another event today, which is the conversation with Constance Kratza, which is a director, Joe Malone. That was actually today. And Emma, I will leave you to the last two.
Yeah, and so then the last pieces that you see here on the right are around allyship. And so we had on social media, as part of our International Women's Day sort of week, we had a Break the Bias challenge and talked through different history of women across the globe. So that was really important for us to highlight, especially as such an international cohort here at Oxford. And then the last event you'll see on the right is Open House for Allies. And so that happened just this past Tuesday. And it was really it was kind of a conversation, a mix of a conversation and content around how we can be allies to women in the workplace. And so it was really high engagement, really great turnout from the cohort, and really great learning opportunity from both sides, to kind of share some research on best practices, but then also hear about different people's experiences within the cohort. And so that's something we'll be trying to follow up on in Trinity term, is to do sort of follow-up event and continue some of those conversations going forward. And then one last area that we're looking to do for Trinity is an event around kind of a safe space for women to share some different barriers that they've faced in the workplace, and kind of have a space for them to really be open and have conversations with each other. So that's another event that we're planning for this coming term.
Aoife, do you want to take a TCS question?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Let me see real quick, 1 second. So the question is, how do you guarantee the continuity of the alliances and clubs if the MBA is 1 year and there is not two cohorts coexisting? That's a good question. But I definitely say that even at the moment, there's a lot of, like I said earlier, there's a lot of collaborative events that the alliances do together and the clubs at the business school. And that really, a lot of all this information is readily available to the new cohorts coming in, and they see the kind of events that happen and the kind of, impactful sessions that happen, and, that actually continues. So I should tell you for free, there's no need to worry about the program being 1 year. That I think those are the perks of Oxford, right? They have somehow, I don't know, managed to make sure that, we're getting the absolute best experience even within the 1 year period. So it's nothing to be concerned about. I also know for free that all the clubs, the alliances have ongoing and active social media pages. So there's always that engagement, and then you see how we collaborate together and how we're making things work. But if anybody else wants to chime in, feel free.
Yeah, I think another important thing is each of the alliances has a member of SBS. So in our case, Amy Major is like our chair from SBS, and I think for Africa is Tammy, but I'm not sure. And so she's in charge. When we first arrived here, Amy was the one that told us everything the previous cohort did, what they had done, what types of events, what themes they were focused on, and she helped us like a little build what we wanted our plan to be for this year. So she has basically all the information, and we will just try to document as much as we can for you guys that are the upcoming cohort to be able to build your own alliance from what we leave you guys.
Perfect. Yeah. I don't know if anybody else has any more questions. Otherwise, we're happy to. Someone dropped a question. Let me see. What is the relationship between the Aha, this is good. Yeah, so between the Women's Alliance and the Laidlaw Foundation, I'm happy to respond to this because I'm a Laidlaw scholar. Yeah, yeah.
Meant for
Obviously,
you, this question.
I mean, yeah, there's women involved in both, which is an easy response. But yeah, I mean, Laidlaw scholars are also, you know, members of the Oxford Women in Business Alliance. The Laidlaw Foundation supports women who are attending business schools. And at the moment, I know that it's Said Business School, London Business School, and Columbia Business School. So it's an external foundation, right? It's not an Oxford foundation, but they support women who want to study the MBA at Oxford. And then the Women's Alliance is an association within the business school that, I mean, does a lot of all the things I've spoken about, which is community support, women empowerment, you know, getting men on board and whatnot. I hope that clarifies your question. Any more questions? Are we good? Okay, great. You're welcome. So we're happy to turn this over to our good friends at the Africa Alliance. Feel free to take it away.
All right, thank you very much, Ife. Very good job with the presentation. All right, so my name is Justice Edu. I'll be speaking about what we do as the Oxford Africa Business Alliance. I'm here with my colleague, Chima. And I think the previous speakers have sort of given you a gist as to how the alliances work. So the Oxford Alliance is basically like your go-to group of persons or community for Africans and anybody who is interested in Africa. So, I mean, there are people who are members of the Africa Alliance, for example, who are not necessarily African, but they have Africa hat. So we have like a very big hat. We welcome people who are either from Africa, are interested in Africa, have done some work in Africa, would want to relocate to Africa after the MBA, or simply want to learn more about Africa. We open our arms wide and we welcome everybody to join the Alliance. As far as the Alliance Committee is concerned, there are 11 of us. You can see me somewhere on your screen. I'm one of the co-directors for the Oxford Africa Forum. And Chima, who is also here with me on this call, is co-head of outreach. And essentially, we sort of drive the Africa initiative as far as making, you know, the people I described earlier having a very good experience on the MBA program. Everybody you see here has like specific unique roles that they play, and it sort of overlaps sometimes. And there are certain times in the year where we all sort of support one particular activity, like we did for the Oxford Africa Business Forum, which was held a couple of weeks ago. And we have an amazing chair in Tammy, who is the chair for the Alliance and also the manager for the Oxford Africa Initiative as far as the business school is concerned. So she basically manages everything Africa as far as the business school is concerned, but she's gracious enough to make time to support us with trying to push our agenda for the year as committee members. So essentially, that is what we do. I'll allow my colleague Shima to just chip in a few words. I'm sure there's something I've missed. So Chima, please feel free.
Yeah, I mean, you've mostly covered everything. And then just to add, right? So we're also here to basically just strengthen that dialogue, right, with the African continent, and also basically attract bright talent from the continent. So in 2014, the dean at the time made a commitment to for each cohort to make up about 10% of the class, and then since 2016 we've done about at least 11%, right? So that's basically one of the goals, right, of the team, and then we're always, I mean, working towards this to keep that steady pipeline of bright talents coming into the Said Business School. And like Justice said, right, I mean, we all cover, I mean, different areas, right, and we work closely together with everybody else who's actually not on this slide. So yeah, that's mostly it.
All right, so next slide, we'll be sharing some insights into some of the events and activities we've organized since September last year. I'll start from the extreme left. Our first event was a virtual session. And usually when we organize events like this, we open it up to the members of the Alliance, usually before the MBA. We send a link out to anybody who is interested in joining the Alliance. So be able to register a number of people. We had close to 100 people who joined the Africa Alliance during our cohort. We expect that, there'll be more people joining the cohort this coming year. So we basically allow people to join when there's an event like the one we organized in October. We send invitations out to members of the Alliance and to other members of the business school. And the first event we organized was with Neka Chime, who works with Cross Boundary. And we basically had a very interesting conversation about deploying capital. Over the past couple of years, like Africa has become a good destination for foreign direct investment and for other forms of private capital investment, especially in the fintech space and in other sectors as well. So we had an interesting conversation about how we can ensure that increasingly capital deployment or capital flows reach Africans, and to what extent as young people who are pursuing MBAs and who have ambitions to go back to Africa, to what extent we can play a role in this ecosystem. After this particular event, we had a networking sessions, or sort of a reception, where we met officially as Alliance members. So this was the event where members of the committee sort of were officially or formally introduced to all the members of the Alliance. And again, it was open to other members of the MBA cohort. So we sort of shared what we were tasked, or what our role on the committee is supposed to be. And basically, we shared some sort of vision. It wasn't like an official manifesto speech or something, but everybody gave like a brief speech as to what their role entails and what we were expecting for the coming year. And it was an interesting event. It was a great day for us to network, to socialize, to meet people. And I feel like, and I remember quite clearly on that, they were able to sign new people to join the Alliance. There were people who were already on the MBA program who were not sure whether they wanted to join the Alliance, but after that event, we were able to get some people to sign up to join, which was cool. We had like another interesting event on Bitcoin and trying to sort of position Africa to not lose out on the Bitcoin conversation and all the interesting and cool things happening in the Bitcoin space. We interviewed like a very young person who started developing Bitcoin when he was a teenager. I remember I was on the call and he was telling us how he has never spent anything in like fiat currency in the world. He does almost everything in Bitcoin. And it was interesting to hear how like inspiring his story was, like for someone who was very, very young, trying to understand what Bitcoin is. Even like for some of us who know about it, is like a big deal. It's like you have to wrap your head around it. But for someone who was like less than 20 years to deep dive into it and to make an entire career and to make a living out of it, to the extent that he has been appointed to a prestigious board that was set up by the co-founder of Twitter and someone like Jay-Z. That should tell you like the kind of work he has done and how influential he is as a young person in the Bitcoin/crypto space. So, it was an engaging discussion because, Bitcoin is something that is gaining traction, not just in Africa, and everywhere else in the world. And it was great for us to first and foremost try to learn how relevant this is from the African context, and basically to, I guess, be inspired by the journey and story from our speaker. So that was also another cool event that I remember. And I think the Women's Alliance mentioned they had an event today. We also have an event coming up right after this call, where we have like an India Africa Day, and we have an interesting speaker who will be, touching on like relationships between India and Africa, and opportunities that exist between these two regions. There is a big Indian cohort in the MBA here at Oxford. And we collaborate a lot when we are organizing events. So we decided it would be a good idea to put together this joint event. And I'm sure I'm sure I'll be in the next couple of minutes, but it's basically to show that if we say we are Africa Alliance, it's basically not just looking at Africa in terms of like inwardly, but we are also collaborating in terms of working with people from other regions to come up with like interesting events and to collaborate as much as we can. So this is just giving you the high level events that we've organized. But the big event on the calendar of the Alliance is what you will find on the next slide, which is the Oxford Africa Business Forum. I feel like I can talk about this for like many hours because I was involved in the planning from September last year to even till today, because there are still some things we are doing after the event. But it was like the biggest event we've organized to date. Obviously, because of COVID, we couldn't have like a fully in-person event. We organized it virtually, and we got about 1,100 people registering to attend. And on the day, we were able to reach about 715 of them, which is a pretty good turnout, about 65% conversion rate, which is not bad. And we've been able to get like, I mean, we've received very positive feedback from people who joined virtually. They were like, they like the sessions, they like the speakers, they like how we engage them. So yeah, I felt like all the work that we put in as committee members and as co-directors of the forum was really worth it, because eventually people were excited about the event. And the two highlights, as you can see, is having one of our former students who is running for president in Nigeria share his insights about the youth of Africa, because the forum was around the youth, how we can sort of take advantage of the opportunities and mitigate the risk and challenges that we face as young people in Africa. I mean, if you look at the stats, Africa has like the youngest population. The average or the median age in Africa is about 19. And so we try to use the forum to figure out how we can empower as many Africans as possible, from the education standpoint, from the entrepreneurship standpoint, even from the gender standpoint. We had a whole session around seats at the table, and we were discussing how we could empower more women and more minority groups like young people into leadership and into, you know, positions where they can use their talent. So it was interesting to hear from Chukwuka his ambitions for youth or the young people, not just in Nigeria but in Africa as well. And one key announcement we made during the forum was the announcement of a new scholarship of about 1.5 million pounds to fund people who are from Africa who would want to study on the Oxford MBA program. I felt like that was like a very big statement that we made on that day. And it goes to show the commitment of Oxford SAE to ensuring that we provide as many opportunities for young people who want to study here in Oxford, and also to grow the talent of people on the continent. So yeah, these are a few highlights from the forum. I'm sure some of you may have registered. The videos are on the Swapcard platform, and we are finalizing uploading them on YouTube. So if you missed it by any chance, you should be able to watch some of the, not some of them, all of them on YouTube very soon. Right, so I would allow Chima to speak to some of the events we have upcoming, which I believe is on the next slide. Yeah, so yeah, we start on the forum. These are like cool pictures from the forum. So we can move on to the next slide now. Yep, again, more pictures from the forum. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this, sorry. We had some sort of in-person sessions. So we had like 3 in-person sessions that ran parallel to the virtual event that we ran. And we had Sarkodia, who is like an award-winning singer from Ghana, joined in. Chukwuka, the presidential aspirant from Nigeria, joined in. And we had Rose, who is a climate activist. And it was engaging, and it sort of added an in-person feel to the virtual event. This was more or less open to students and people in Oxford, because I mean, it was something that we did sort of on the side. The main event was still running virtually while we were organizing this in-person session. But one major highlight as well was the gala dinner, which we organized on the Friday evening of the forum. Like my best event of the year so far, and everybody that attended was super happy, super excited. There were people who completed the MBA last year, who couldn't obviously have like a dinner like this because of COVID. They attended and they were super excited. And that sort of crowned the forum in a very nice and elegant way. So, I mean, hopefully if you all are able to join the Alliance, you should be able to participate in a similar gala dinner sometime next year. All right, so over to you, Chima.
Brilliant. Thank you, Justice. Fantastic. So on what's coming with the African Alliance. So the first thing is an African focused careers fair, and here we're basically putting together companies on the continent who are keen on hiring top talent from the business school, and then they don't have to actually be from the continent. Anyone who's keen on going back to Africa or coming to Africa for the first time is welcome to, join this fair and speak to recruiters from top companies. The second is we'll be having a distinguished speaker events throughout the rest of the term or session rather. So basically inviting top business leaders, political leaders, social innovators, to come and speak to us about various topics that are very interesting and will provide deep insights about the continent as well. The third is a body system with current African students. So the goal here is to match incoming candidates with us who are currently on the program. And the criteria here will basically be based on sector or where you're from. And the goal is basically to give you an inside information and inside experience on what the MBA program and journey is about, and to answer key questions and just provide you with anything you want to know. It could be about college selection, electives, just general questions about the program that you'd want to find out more about. The next one, Justice, do you want to speak about the entrepreneurship competition?
Yes, so one of the things that I guess personally I'm super excited and proud about is the fact that we will soon be launching an entrepreneurship competition for students and alumni of the University of Oxford. And I mean, this goes even beyond the business school. So anybody who is like affiliated to the university in any way, either as a student or as an alum, we are trying to put together a seed fund competition where people can apply and potentially get funding to I guess grow their business ideas. The goal is to ensure that the business that or the business or the venture that wins, or the business and the ventures that apply should have some form of impact directly to Africa. So it could be that like one of the founders is African, or it could be that the operations is based in Africa. I mean, we are still yet to make this public, so I can't give you like all the details, but the goal is to ensure that we are able to drive entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial ventures across Africa. And I guess in due course, we'll be sharing like all the details as to who is eligible to apply and what the amount is for who the potential winner is, what the entire process is as far as the application, the panel that would vet applicants, how long the duration of the competition will be, who qualifies to join, like all those details will be announced soon. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm particularly proud about this because this is something that was like an offshoot of one of the committee meetings that we held sometime in October when we joined. And we've been working on developing this, trying to reach out to people in our network, people who are alumni, to at least get this started by providing funding for the eventual winner of the competition. And I'm very excited that we are almost at the point where we'll be announcing this soon. So if you are on this call, or you know someone who fits, I guess, the description or the profile of someone who can apply, and once we make this public, I would encourage you to apply. You basically have to have like an idea or something that drives entrepreneurship and impact in Africa. I mean, Oxford Said is big on social impact. So we always want to emphasize the fact that impact is something that we are almost always excited about. So yeah, that's the news as far as the entrepreneurship competition is concerned.
Brilliant. The other two events, the one is the alumni events. So here we'll basically be inviting former Side Business School students to come and speak about their experiences both during the MBA and post MBA, talk about their career journeys and basically how it's been for them after the MBA. And finally, what's work? I mean, all work without play, right? So having an end of the year celebration to mark, and just to celebrate on all the wins that we had during the year, and also mark the start of the new year for those coming. So yeah, that's it for us. Thank you.
So we are happy to answer all your questions.
Thank you, Justice and Chima. Had a couple of questions come directly to me. So a question on the impact and value of what joining the Africa Alliance has on those that are non-African. So it'd be great if you guys could speak to that and to the committee members that you maybe have in the Alliance and their experiences.
So as I mentioned, the Alliance is open to everyone on the MBA program who is passionate or excited about Africa. So I guess this becomes like your first point of contact if you are someone who, let's say, is interested in Africa in one way or the other, and you want to learn more about the continent. There's usually people from different countries, so you can start having conversations with people from specific countries that you have particular interest in, for example. If there are particular industries, let's say renewable energy or consulting or finance in Africa that you want to get exposure to, the MBA is such that there's almost always diversity of experience, right? So you can start engaging people who have like lived experiences on the continent when it comes to some of the industries that anyone would like to explore in Africa. So generally speaking, the Alliance provides the platform for you to start having conversations if you're someone who is not necessarily from Africa, but you want to get some form of exposure to Africa, either from a careers point of view or from even a social point of view. Like we organize events where we talk about like issues on the continent and how like global issues, for example, impact Africa and all that. So I mean there's obviously opportunity for you to engage in such conversations. By virtue of being a member of the Alliance, and yeah, I don't know if Chima, you want to add anything.
Yeah, and basically also just to gain perspective on what it's like doing business in Africa, right? Not necessarily you don't have to want to work on the continent, but just gain deeper understanding, insights, knowledge about what it's like doing business there, the modalities, complexities, so that's one of the values also that you can gain from it as well. So
yeah, one thing I can add is that there are people from in our cohort, for example, who have always wanted to travel to Africa, for example. So as part of the MBA program, there is an African elective that you can sign up to during Trinity, I believe. And now that COVID seems to be gradually going out of the way, I hope I'm not misspoken. We organize like treks to different parts of the continent. So if you are someone who is not, you're not necessarily from Africa, but you're interested in exploring Africa, you definitely through the Alliance can get opportunity to visit and to explore.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. And I'm going to go over to the Women Leadership Alliance now. Just a question back to you. What advice would you give to those thinking of getting involved with the Alliance and maybe throughout them summer months and the preparation of getting involved as a committee member? What would be some key standout pieces of advice you would share?
Again, any member of my team, please also feel free to share your thoughts, but very similar to how it's done with the Africa Alliance. I believe sometime in August, you should get, August, September, you should get some invites to, be a member of the Women's Alliance and also apply to any of the 4 positions available to be on the committee. So I'd absolutely advise apply. No second guessing yourself. If you genuinely are passionate about women and the advancement of all things women, and also getting, all allies on board the conversation around women, you should absolutely apply. It's definitely worth it. I'm sure from the events we've had and from the things we keep doing, you can see that it's been a lot of fun, just learning from each other and having a great time together. If you check our Instagram on International Women's Day, we had a fun photo shoot where we had everyone on the cohort, men, women, members of faculty, join us with some pretty cool placards about breaking the bias this year. And so you have fun things like that. And then you also have serious conversations around, negotiating and gender pay gaps, and so it's a really great blend of all things, women focused and more. So yeah, and it's easy. The sign up is always very easy. So please be on the lookout in your emails. I know that you're getting a ton of emails right now, but trust me, it doesn't end. It only increases. I'm sure everyone on this call can confirm. So just get used to it. But it's always helpful information. So please check it out.
Yeah, and echoing what Ife is saying, someone asked in the chat earlier about the criteria to join one of the Africa Business Alliance. And Chima answered that there is no criteria. That is not how it works for the Women's Alliance. We do get selected, so you have to apply. That's why Ife is encouraging you to apply, because there are only 5 places in the committee. So please apply. And another advice I would give you is to listen carefully to your cohort's interests. I think something that we were very good at the beginning is that we held a workshop where we collected the interests of our cohort in terms of women. And that is why we are been having so much engagement, because we talk about the topics that are hot for our cohort. So for example, a big one was getting men involved in the conversation. So everything we've done has been revolving about that, so people engage with it. So really listen to what your cohort is wanting to talk about, try to engage with them, and I think that's part of the recipe for success.
Thank you, Gabriella. Do you have anything to add to that? No pressure, just if you want to say anything further.
I think I covered most of it. I think the only other thing I would think about when you're doing the application is just how you want to support the women of your cohort. And so just thinking that through a little bit on like kind of what your strengths are and what you can bring to the table and kind of how you envision being able to support them, I think is a good reflection point when doing the application. But yeah, highly encouraged.
Oh, thank you so much. And Justice and Chima, just back over to you. We get a lot of questions even during one-to-ones and interviews about obviously the intensity of a one-year program, and getting involved in the alliances can obviously be time consuming. I know you guys have been super busy with the Africa Forum. And I wondered from your perspective, if you could share managing your time and making sure that you get the most out of the alliance, but also being able to balance your studies, extracurriculars, socializing, your mental well-being. If you could just share a few insights into that, I think that would be really interesting for those dialed in.
I'll allow Chima to go first on this.
Nice setup. So basically, I think it's very possible, right, to combine and not be overwhelmed, right? I mean, I think the key thing here is prioritization, right? So just being able to prioritize properly. I mean, you can't go for everything, right? But just being able to prioritize the things that you want to be involved in, and then just managing your time perfectly, right? So it's really, really doable, right? For example, most times on Fridays, right, we don't have any classes, so I mean, you can have that Friday where you dedicate it to stuff about the African Alliance or any other committee or club that you're involved with. So the key thing is prioritization, and then also just sharing with your team. If you are swamped, I mean, you have people that are always ready to support you, So just leaning on your team members and then just being able to prioritize, and I think you'll be very fine.
What I'll add is, I guess, ask questions, because there are so many interesting things that go on here at the university. Like, even beyond the business school, there are so many interesting things that will definitely interest you. So the question is, you basically need to ask a lot of questions around what happens when. So for example, when I was joining, I was interested in the finance lab, I was interested in impact lab, I was interested in the alliance. And I mean, I at some point felt I would be overwhelmed, but I reached out to like the cohort before us, and I asked them when each of these things kicked in. So I was able to get advice, for example, that, well, for the forum, it's usually gets busy in Hillary. So I know that even though I would be busy in the commerce, for example, I wouldn't be spending a lot of my time on the forum. So I knew I could combine being on the Alliance Committee and also doing some of the co-curricular activities that I was interested in. I knew, for example, that the finance lab ran in the commerce STEM, so I knew I could do that, in addition to like the coursework, in addition to socializing, and as Daniela's mentioned, in addition to having good mental health. So basically ask questions and know when things kick in. For example, I know a lot of people in my cohort are interested in CDL. CDL is something that kicks in, like, I think after commerce, for example. So if you're interested in that, you wouldn't want to say you would be overwhelmed when it happens at a time when you probably don't have a lot of things to do. So just ask questions. That's the first thing I would say. Number two is know yourself, know what you can do and what you can't do. I mean, don't be worried if you're not sure. There are so many things that I thought I was sure about, but after the first 2-3 months, I realized I really wasn't cut out for it. So, I mean, maintain a good balance between knowing yourself and also exploring as much as you can. I mean, you only do your MBA once, and you want to get like the best value that you can get from this 1 year stay here at Oxford.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much. And I think just a question to end on, and I think if you can all contribute to this in no particular order, it'd be great. So what do you think you have enjoyed the most of being part of the Alliance? And I know this is going to be difficult because you've shared such a wealth of events with us and activities, and I'm sure there are so many standout moments for you all, but really just something that comes to mind that you've really, really enjoyed whilst being part of the Alliance. What do you think that would be currently? Happy for anyone to take that first. If anyone wants to jump in, no pressure, but.
Interesting. But I would say, I think on my end is working with an amazing team. Like, everyone has such uniqueness that they bring every time. And that really just helps and eases the process, right? So I'd say working with an amazing team, and just a team that is always willing to try out anything and everything and new things, right? When you have that, any crazy idea in your head can become something, right? And then you might be thinking about, oh, maybe this will work, maybe this won't work, but all you need to do is just share with the team, right? And then you'd be amazed, at the way it's gonna come out looking, right? So I think everything we've done has been an idea that one of us had, and we just ran with it. So there's some structure, and there's also a bit of the fun part, which is not too structured, and that makes the whole experience worthwhile. So that would be it for me.
Thank you for that. Anyone else want to jump in?
I think for me, it's the occasional free drinks. I'm joking. But to be serious though, I think it's just having that community of people, right, all working towards a goal, right? I mean, for example, the sense of fulfillment that we all had, that I had after the just concluded forum, right, was huge. I mean, it was a proud moment for everyone. So it's just just having that that sense of fulfillment and being a part of something big, and then feeling that, okay, look, I was able to actually contribute to this thing that made such a difference, so I think that's it for me.
Gabriella, Justice, Emma, anything from you guys?
I guess for me, it's been the whole immersiveness of, being a member of the Alliance, like regular meetings, like having interesting conversations with my colleagues, like learning interesting things about Africa, even though I'm from Africa. Like I've learned so many things from colleagues and on the committee on the Alliance. So I feel like it's been a great learning experience for me. Because I work quite closely on the forum, I share in the sentiments of Chima. It was something that was worthwhile. Like having you felt a sense of accomplishment, having worked with people, having suffered some heartbreaks because some speakers that you invited like declined, but at the end of the day, having like a very successful event definitely makes it worthwhile. And one other thing, I guess that I would want to highlight is the seed fund competition that I mentioned earlier. I think this would be like a great legacy for this cohort if we're able to fully operationalize this. I can always look back onto this like 5-10 years from now and say that, well, when we were here, like we were able to put together this as a committee, and it's something that would help drive businesses and potentially help them to grow. So I mean, these are some of the fond memories that I have, and I'm sure it's good enough to inspire you guys.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, I think Ife stole what I was gonna say, and that my
I
favorite.
know how you feel about me, Gabby.
Ife. But I think the very cliche phrase when you ask this question, the very cliche, the do what you love and you won't have to work a day in your life. That is exactly how I feel with Ola. That everything we do, our team we're so different, but we have the same goal. So we have so much fun working, and I don't know. It never feels like work. So that's what I enjoy the most.
Oh, amazing. We're on to you finally.
Yeah, I definitely echo both Gabby and Ife's thoughts, and I think there's something else to add. At least for me, a highlight was probably our event this past Tuesday, and really engaging men in the conversation around gender parity and allyship, and getting their honest questions and thoughts on different topics, I think was really helpful for me as well to learn about, there's barriers on both sides, and I think it takes all of us to have these direct conversations with each other to really learn and move forward. And so I think that was really cool to be a part of, to hear different people's experiences and also struggles on the topic as well from both ends. And so I think that was a really valuable moment for me, and I think helps inspire me to keep pushing forward in these conversations. And so yeah, that was definitely a highlight. But yeah, fantastic team. So obviously echoing their thoughts as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you to both alliances for your amazing presentations today. You've been amazing panelists. It's been so enjoyable to host you guys. I hope those of you dialed in have been able to take a lot of value from this session. It's great to be able to, not only as staff members, we can speak to the Alliance, but actually hear from people who are part of this in this current year, I think is super, super valuable. So I hope you've enjoyed the session. And a huge thank you to our panelists. So if you are planning on joining our closing session, that will start in around half an hour. Hope you've been able to enjoy the last couple of days of sessions. Those of you who've dialed into numerous ones since Wednesday, I hope that's been enjoyable for you. Any further questions, do reach out to us. I popped our email address on the chat, and thank you so much for joining. Thanks so much, guys. Take care, everyone.
Everyone.
Thank
Everyone,
you.
all the best.
Take care. Bye.